Hi, I am Venus Davis. I am an actress, and I have the pleasure of being on Keith Andrews' show, and I highly, highly recommend it. He's a wonderful guy, and he has a great platform.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am your host, Keith Andrew, and this is episode 711. That's right, 711. I'm here as the talented and beautiful Venus Davis. I just want to say thank you for being a guest on my talk show.
Thank you for having me, Keith.
No, the honor's all mine. For people who want to know what my talk show is about, the whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities to never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you want to be. It's prove to them and get them out to something. So hashtag break the labels. So that being said, 27 minutes of your time, half hour if we have to go overtime. Normal conversation, PG-13. Ask me anything. I have no cards up my sleeves. And let's jump right into it.
Awesome.
So the first question I want to ask you is, who inspired you in your life and why?
Who inspired me in my life? Well, the main person that inspired me mostly was my grandmother, my maternal grandmother. She raised me, her and my grandfather, from when I was an infant, and always instilled with me to not be afraid to dream. She put the love of film and music and the arts in me, and so yeah, I think she's the person that inspired me the most.
No, absolutely. It's always good to have a positive role model in your life.
Absolutely. Totally agree with that.
Now, the next question I want to ask you is, looking for a good one. Tell me about the proudest day of your life.
Oh, the proudest day of my life. I, I have, well, I'm a mom too, so I think for me, of course, every parent said the day my child was born, but I have my third child was born early at 25 weeks, and she was born not breathing, and for like, I think 3 minutes it was, and she spent the first month or so on a ventilator and had months of difficulties in the NICU. So she was there for 8 months. So I think the proudest day for me was when we got to bring her home after 8 months of being in the NICU.
No, I can be, well, I can't relate, but my mother can, because one of my elder brothers, he had, not to go into it, but he had a hard time. And so I honestly know how you're feeling. But look, she's healthy, she's doing well.
She is. She's healthy. She's had some delays. She has a learning disability as well because of a brain bleed that she had when she was born. And she does have some delay as far as her learning, but she's a healthy child. And I always instill in her that even with the learning disability, you can do anything that you want to do. Set your mind to it. Have goals and achieve those, and don't be afraid, and don't listen to anything that anyone else may try to say to you that's negative.
No, absolutely. And just because someone says no to you, that doesn't mean it's a nail in a coffin. That just means a no for right now.
Right.
Like, you should always take the extra step. Someone says no to you, use that for extra motivation. Say, you know what? You may think, I can't do this, I can't do that, but I'm going to show you, like Muhammad Ali, I'm going to show you how great I can be, or
Absolutely.
how great I am.
Yes.
Now,
Well
the next
said.
question I was going to ask you, because you are a professional actress, the next question I want to ask is, what would be your best ideal work environment for you to do your best possible work?
My best ideal environment would be something where everybody is pretty much on the same page collectively. I want to eventually what I'm doing now, and as an addition to the acting, I'm also writing. So to be able to have not just be acting, but also have multiple roles involved in the production.
Oh, absolutely. Now, the next question I want to ask you is going back to your acting. What was the most, well, there's two parts. I'm just, Maxie just mixed them up.
Uh-huh.
Say, give me a time where you went up and beyond a Call of Duty.
When I went up and above as far as a role or a job, you mean?
Well, it could be a little of everything, but yes.
I'll say a commercial that I had where it was supposed to be just a small part, but it actually turned out to be something where I did work in front of the camera and also behind the camera. And it went extra long hours, more so than what I had originally, which of course that's what, you never know how long you're going to spend on the set. You may go in thinking it's only going to be for a few hours and you're there like 13, 14 hours. So.
Absolutely. And, I always thought about being an actor or being an extra. And my brother always says to me, it's not easy. You're going to be there, for until they need you. So you can go early in the morning, 5, 6 in the morning. You could probably come back 11, 12 o'clock at night. So it's not really easy.
Yeah, especially when when I first started, of course, doing background and extra work just to get the experience of being on a set. And with extra work, of course, it's a lot of hurry up and wait where you're on set and you're actually in holding more than you are on the actual set in front of a camera. So it's definitely a lot of patience involved in that. I've done stand-in also where it's more involved doing stand-in, but it's still a lot of waiting on the set.
No, absolutely. Now, the other question I wanted to ask you is, tell me about a time where there was a conflict that you had with a producer, a castmate. How did you, I would say, not overcome it, but how did you get through it?
To be honest with you, Keith, I have not had any, knock on wood, been fortunate to not have had any conflict with anyone as actors or a director or casting. I pretty much, my personality is, I'm a Virgo and I'm kind of just easygoing and I can get along with anybody, really. It's like, I haven't had any conflicts with anyone. I kind of just like mellow in and I just kind of like mesh with everybody, I think. So far, knock on wood, hopefully there won't be.
No, absolutely. And it's funny, people ask me for that for interviews. Oh, tell me about a time that you and a coworker, had a conflict. So pretty much a long story short is, look, we have a job to do. I'm going to be respectful to you. I expect you to be respectful to me. We're going to do the job. If you don't like me, hey, we're not being friends at the end of the day, but work comes first over how we really feel.
Right. We don't have to be friends. Let's just get the job done, do what we're paid to do, and make it work.
No, absolutely. Next one I want to ask is, what accomplishments do you believe was the most difficult for you to achieve?
Well, right now, I think actually right now what I'm having with everything that's going on is it's just hard for everybody working, but I'm still waiting to get that co-star, guest star on TV.
If you
That's
do,
been my most difficult challenge thus far, but it's going to happen.
well, whenever you get it, you know, I wish you the very best, and hey, hook me up.
Yes.
Now, then that goes to my next question. Have you ever been stereotyped, and what certain roles do you proceed to want? Do you want to be the lead actor? Do you want to be the supporting actor?
I want to be the working actor. That's what I want to be. I want to just be a working actor. No, of course, I would love to be lead in television or a film, which is, you know, what I would like to do. I'm fine being supporting of a cast. I think that just with the cast period, it's just all about teamwork. I think that everyone's really supporting because every actor needs their scene partner to support them in a scene. So whatever title or billing that you may have, it's all about teamwork and everybody's there to support the other actor.
No, absolutely. But what about stereotyping? Have you because a lot of people get stereotyped. I give me an example. You know, I interviewed someone who's like, oh, you're Asian, so you're only fit Asian roles, or, you know, you happen to be African American, you can only fit certain roles. For me, I kind of fall in two categories. One's, I guess, a compliment. It's like, oh, you can be a scientist. Well, I don't want to be a scientist for the rest of my life. But at the same time, when they find out you have a disability, it's kind of like, oh, you also fall into that category as in being stereotyped. So it doesn't matter, you know, what they perceive of you. It's how you perceive yourself. But for an example, when you ever walked into an audition, did you ever see the look on their face where they had their minds made up, say, we have a perfect role for you, and you look at them like, this role is complete utter crap. I don't want to do it. But you can't say no because you want the job. You need the money. So have you ever had to swallow your pride?
There has been, I remember one job that I thought that I was going to have a particular role, and it was going to be a lead, and then it ended up not being a lead, more of supporting. And I don't know if that had anything specifically to do with stereotype. I know that it was supposed to be a role where I was opposite someone else that was of a different race, but I think that the client ended up not wanting to go that route. And so it had to be rewritten and adjusted so that it would, you know, make the client happy. But so I guess that would be one incident. And I was disappointed in that aspect, especially, you know, being that it's 2020, that people kind of would still have that feeling that, you know, well, no, some people may not want to see that on camera. I guess it depends on, you know, where it is too, or what part of the region that you're filming a particular thing. But I can't say that I've had anyone other than that incident say anything directly to me regarding. I've had with actors, especially when you're starting out, you know, you want to find out what your type is, what roles would be the one that a casting director look at you and say, oh, you would be perfect for this role. And so talking with other people that are in casting and other actors, and even your coach, you know, it's like, well, what role do you think I would be typing? So they look at you, and I've been told doctor, lawyer, you know, the mom, or the neighbor next door or something, you know, that would be. And then not just race, but then you have to think about age too, because I got into acting a lot later in life than I think most actors start out. But, you know, learning along the way that it's not so much about age and when you start, it's just that you start and you're determined to, you know, that you're going to achieve something. And so you shouldn't let age or, you know, race or anything get in the way. And if you know your type, then you kind of specifically go for those roles. And of course, when you audition for something, you may not get the particular thing that you're auditioning for, because that casting director may look at you and say, oh, we may not want to go in that direction with you, but there's this other role that you would be perfect for. And like you said, of course, you're not going to really.
Oh, absolutely. And just by looking at you, I do see that, the mom part, and I do see you can be a doctor, a lawyer. And when you look at me, what is your honest opinion? If you had to pick me for a certain role, besides scientist, and I hate science, by the way.
Oh, you hate science? I could actually see you as like a college professor. I could see you as like a doctor. Yeah, I could see you as like maybe the best friend. Yeah.
No,
not scientists. I actually didn't think scientists when other than you got like that your background there with all the electricity and stuff going.
I try to change it up time to time.
Yeah.
Every season I do it, so I always try to like do it different. But I'm not saying being stereotyped is a bad thing. For an example, and if I imposed on you, I do apologize.
I know, it's fine. You're good.
Being stereotyped isn't a bad thing, because you look at Christian Bale, Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Chris Pine. These people, it doesn't matter, what they do or whatever roles they go to, they will only be like, I'll give you an example. Hugh Jackman, it's Wolverine. But he did a movie where he's like the normal father. He did, I almost said iRobot. He did Real Steel. But when you see him and you listen to him speak, it's like, that's so cool, that's Wolverine. Christian Bale being Batman, but then he kind of slips in doing other movies. But when you look at him, you can't picture him doing any other things except for those certain roles.
Yeah.
And those are household names.
Right.
But there are certain roles like, Jeff Goldblum, and it's really scary seeing how old he got. I lost him when I was a kid. And now I feel old. And it's like, in Jurassic Park, he gets a scientist. You look at the guy from Seinfeld. I can't think of his name, but the heavyset guy with the glasses. And,
oh, yeah.
So when you see him, you think scientist. So there's certain people that if you play a role more than a couple of months or a couple of films, then it's in someone's brain that, okay, I'll give you an example. Data, I can't think of his real name, but the guy who does Data, he always gets sci-fi films, scientist roles. And he's like, well, why can't I get other roles? Well, we haven't seen you done anything except for these parts. So in a way, it can get repetitious, but...
It can. And as an actor, you want to work, yes. And like you said, it's easy to get typecast if you're playing the same type of roles all the time, because that's kind of like what they see you as. But as an actor, your job is to be able to morph into different characters and to bring a character that's on paper to life. So, and that should be for like any character, not just being able to play the mom or the girlfriend or the doctor or the lawyer, but to play all of that and then some.
No, absolutely. Now, the last two questions actually I want to talk to you about is, have you, besides me, have you ever worked with people with learning disabilities? And are you willing to work with people with disabilities?
To my knowledge, I have not, but of course I would be willing to, yeah, I'm willing. I would love to work with everyone. I don't believe that someone having a learning disability should inhibit them from working or doing anything. And definitely someone should not be offended or opposed to working with someone just because they have any type of disability.
No, I agree. And now for people out there that do have disabilities, what would your words of wisdom be to them to follow in your footsteps? For an example, I was looking down and I'm slowly getting used to reading a script. Usually I just throw crap against the wall. I'm like, oh, I'm going to say this, I'm going to say that. But I'm trying to change up the format. So while you're talking, I'm looking down. I'm like, yeah, this sucks. I wish I could just do it off the top of my head. But for someone who can't really read a script, do you think in the acting community people would be more lenient of making an exception? I give you a sample, an example. For me, I'm good at improv. So if we were doing a scene, I can think on my feet. It's like, oh, you said this, well, it will pop in my head. Well, it makes sense to say this. Instead of someone's like, oh, read a script, and like, I can't read a script. Do you think that, I know it's two questions to one, but do you think improv is easier than reading a script? And what would you say to people that have a hard time reading a script?
Do I think improv is easier than reading a script? Well, reading a script is there. The words are already there for you. Of course, improv, you got to be, able to. Improv is definitely more fun, I find, because you're feeding off of the other person and you don't know what they're about to say or what they're about to do. So it's like reaction, and I think that's a lot more fun. But I think if you're on set and there's a script and you have someone who may have a learning disability with reading, I think that person should be able to, if they need like an aid or assistance to help them to read the script or to understand it and break it down before they're seen, or to work with them prior to going to set, I think that would be great and probably helpful to that person, depending on, their disability.
And they can always edit it in too. So like for an example, you can use your set right behind you. So say you're supposed to be in the same room, so you read your line, but you can also edit it where I'm in the same place. And you may not be in the room, but I will go say the line. So you can always, editing is kind of like a hit and miss. Yes, it could work, but you don't want it to jump around. You need to have it flow into each other. So as soon as you're done saying your part, it chimes in with what I say. You can't say, okay, you do yours, sudden pause, but it's kind of like, it looks like an amateur. So it's certain things where if you're willing to have the patience to work with somebody with disabilities, then yeah, that's great and everything. But why do people, if you see in today's world, don't have the patience or the intelligence, for that matter, of giving someone the time and I want to say pleasure, but that's the time of day and saying, you know what, I know you have a good heart and you're very passionate, and I can see that you can be a good actor. When I look at you, I can see you can be a fantastic actress, and I'm not kissing your butt or anything. I know you can be a fantastic actress, and for me, when someone looks at me, I don't want someone to snap their fingers, like 1, 2, 3, or get the hell out. I was like, you know what? We're going to break this down for you because we want you for this role. And there's certain people that will go up, and that's what we're saying, go up and beyond saying, we will work with you. But there's other people that don't have that common respect and analogy of saying, how to deal with. I give you an example. I used to work in a store in Woodbury Commons, and I said I have a disability. And I'm being sarcastic when they say this. Well, we never worked with somebody like you before. And I'm like, what the hell is that supposed to mean?
What's that mean? Yeah.
And yet, I deal with a lot of backward-ass people. So that's just an example of the stupidity I'm talking about. But it's kind of like, you can't fix stupid. Number one, for people out there, you can't fix stupid, but you can numb it with a 2x4.
Keith!
I just want to make you laugh. But it's true. If you give someone the time of day and the patience and the respect and the opportunity, you'd be really surprised at what they can amount to.
Oh,
But
absolutely. Yeah, because people work at their own pace too, anyways. Even people, that may not have a learning disability, everyone works at their own pace and have their own way of learning a specific thing. Even when I get a script, I have to break it down to make it work for me so that I understand it. Who's the character? What are the words? How am I memorizing my lines? So, I mean, of course, that goes for someone with a learning disability, and people should be able to understand that it may take a little bit more time, but then makes it acceptable, have it so that they'll have the resources that they need to help them do that.
no, absolutely. Now, I do have a couple questions for you off the air, but the first one I want to ask you is, how can people follow you on social media? Are you on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram?
Yeah, I am on Instagram at Elvenus, ELLVENUS Davis, DAVIS, and I'm also on Twitter, and I have a Facebook page as well. So it's my full name is Elvenus Davis, but you can type in Venus Davis and it'll also come up.
No, absolutely. And my last question for you wrapping up, I want you to be brutally honest. When I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what was your first reaction? What made you say yes? And after being a guest, how do you feel now? And would you recommend it to other people?
My first reaction when you popped up in my DM was, who is this guy? Is he for real? Because you never know. You get messages and nowadays you can't be, you have to be careful with who you communicate with, even if it's through texting, because you never know who's on the other side of the,
Right.
Keyboard. So, but once I did have a dialogue with you and talk back and forth, and you told me about your learning disability, and it wasn't so much, it wasn't even at all that you wanted to interview me about acting, but when I heard about your learning disability, and I have a child with a learning disability, so I automatically was like, oh yeah, I would love to do this, and because I absolutely believe that, just because you're someone with a learning disability, there are no limitations. You can do whatever you want to do and set your mind to. You may have limitations as far as how you learn, but not as far as what you do and what you can do. And now that I have done this process, I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and I would absolutely recommend it to anyone that would like to come onto your platform and talk.
Absolutely. Now, I do have a couple questions for you off the air. But
Okay.
wrapping up, it was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest, and I'm looking
mine.
forward to part 2 down the road.
Hi guys, my name is Kat Johnston.
This is Donna Drake.
This is Kayleen.
Hi, my name is Kara Svucek.
I'm Julia Brothers.
Jenna Curtis.
Hey, I'm Jenny Fine.
Hi, it's Mimi Chen.
Hi, my name is Ella Dorsch.
My name is Shauna Toft.
Hey guys, I'm Anastasia Edwards.
Hi, this is Jackie Nunez.
Actress Becky Hayes.
Hi, I'm Amelia Rose.
Hey there, I'm Saki Mieta.
Hi guys, I'm Alexandria Denise, and you're watching Keith Andrews' show.